My name is Val, and I'm 42 years old. I run a small guest house in the mountains with my wife, Maria, who is 6 years younger than me. I used to work as an office worker in the city until 4 years ago, but I quit my job 5 years ago after my wife got sick, so I started doing what I'm doing now. The trigger was my wife's illness, but I've always loved being close to nature, and I think this job suits me well. That day, I was with my wife gathering wild vegetables in the mountain to put on the dining table. Then, from somewhere, "Hey, help me!" I heard a voice saying. Thinking that someone was lost, I searched around and found a middle-aged man sitting at the slope of a mountain trail. "Are you okay?" I called out and received a firm reply. "Sorry, I sprained my foot and couldn't get up." I helped the man and brought him back to the guest house. Upon returning to the guest house, my wife took care of him. The man looked away while climbing the mountain and had slipped. The man, who introduced himself as Adam, was 32 years old, and with a handsome appearance, he turned towards my wife. "Sorry for the inconvenience, but you're really beautiful. It's a shame to be left in such a remote mountain." He complimented her such. My wife seemed pleased, and after being bashful for a while, spoke. "Adam, it's going to get late soon. Would you like to stay for the night? We don't have any other guests today," she said. She made the decision without consulting me, but I couldn't bring myself to object since I love my wife so much, and so Adam stayed. And then 3 days passed. Although his foot should have gotten better, Adam continued to stay at our home. Through our conversations, I heard that Adam was a member of the mafia, and I regret ever getting involved, but my wife didn't seem to mind at all. Even now, over a cup of tea after dinner, "Hey Val, don't you want to go check on the fields today?" she said, trying to rush me. When I didn't respond, Adam grinned at me. "I'm sorry, I'd help if my legs weren't like this," he said. I wondered where the graciousness was when I saved him, but he was a member of the mafia, so I didn't want to say anything strange and let it get violent. "No, I'm fine, just get some rest," I said, and decided to go to the fields. While working in the fields, I couldn't stop thinking about the two of them. My wife seems to like Adam quite a bit. If there was any free time, they'd chat. I started to worry that maybe she likes Adam. As I continued to work on the field, thinking things over, I decided to ask him to leave after all. Adam is already walking around normally, even if he's injured and unable to move. I'd just tell them that we had a reservation from the next customer, or something, and ask him to leave peacefully. If it's decided, then it's better to talk quickly. Thinking that, I hurried home, and when I was about to open the door, I reflexively withdrew the hand that was holding the doorknob. From the other side of the room, I heard a troubled voice. "Are you okay? You have a husband," Adam's voice went. Then I heard my wife's voice. "It's okay. After all, we've been living in the mountains for a long time. It's boring and can't be helped." I could feel my heart instantly go cold at those words. Meanwhile, their conversation continued. "But your husband's a fool, too, pretending to be a good person, helping others, and having his wife taken away by the person he helped." "Come on, don't talk about that person now. It doesn't matter, that man." On the other side of the door, there was joyful laughter. I stood still, listening to the conversation. "You're a terrible woman. He quit his job and came here for you, didn't he?" Adam said, and my wife laughed while answering him. Not wanting to hear any more outbursts from my wife's mouth, I impulsively opened the door and yelled at her. "What the hell are you guys doing?" My wife was surprised and flustered, but Adam started talking. "Well, I guess it can't be helped that he found out," he said with a brazen attitude, making me even angrier. But when I tried to yell at him again, I suddenly felt a shock to my face and was knocked down. I quickly realized that I was hit by Adam, but I couldn't get up because I had never been in a fight before. Adam approached me, lying on the floor, with his fist clenched. "Shut up. You know spoiled people like you. You have to get hurt once to understand. I'll discipline you so that you don't overthink things anymore." And I couldn't put up much of a fight, so Adam beat me up. Adam laughed at me, as I could only groan. "I'll be here for a while to come, so of course you won't complain anymore, will you?" And my wife, who had been watching silently, looked at me as I rolled on the floor and said in disgust, "You're really stupid. How can you possibly compete with the mafia in a fight?" I despaired at my wife, who didn't even worry about me, and from that day on, my house and guest house were taken over by Adam completely. I ended up being abused, treated like Adam and my wife's maid. Even though I obeyed the two who acted as they pleased, my desire for revenge was growing. I felt that I couldn't leave things as they were, so I waited for an opportunity. And then, on the day of the first reservation after Adam proclaimed himself the owner unilaterally, Adam and my wife headed to the guest house in high spirits and noticed something strange. The door was locked and there was a sold sign. I called out to the two who were confused and didn't understand what was going on. "What's wrong? Both of you look stupid." They noticed me and started yelling. "You! What is this all about? Did you sell mine and Adam's guest house without our permission?" I snickered at the mistake even my wife, let alone Adam, had made. "Don't be stupid. I own this guest house and that house. Sell it or not, it's up to me." Adam idiotically started talking. "What the hell, man?" he yelled at me. My wife was pale. "Wait a minute, you're not selling the house, are you?" I smiled and told her that she had indeed noticed. "Oh yeah, I sold it. I forgot to mention that today is the moving out day, so hurry up and pack up and leave." Then Adam grabbed me by the collar. "You idiot! I won't forgive you!" he yelled. My wife saw it. "Let's do it, Adam. Let's break his limbs and lock him in the barn so he can't do anything he shouldn't," she cheered happily. What a horrible thing to say. I've devoted my life to this woman. I was so disappointed to think so, but my expression did not change as I kept a straight face. "If you want to hit me, hit me. Even if you hit me, I won't go back to my house or guest house anymore." Just when I thought so. "What are you doing, Adam?" an angry voice resounded. "I finally found you, and you're arguing here?" Adam grabbed my chest and looked at me with a panicked expression. "Oh, Dad," he said weakly. My wife started talking. "Oh, Adam's father?" she asked, but that was not true. "He was a mafia boss who had taken care of Adam before he came here," he informed us. When my wife heard this, she screamed at Adam in a panic. "Adam, what are you talking about? You said you were out of the mafia." The mafia boss, with a scar on his cheek and a fancy suit, looked at them and chuckled. "Is this your current girl? You still like to mess with other women, don't you? Hey, Adam." "Still like to mess?" my wife muttered, which I also picked up on. This guy didn't come out of the mafia. He got caught messing around with the mafia boss's wife and ran away. At that time, the expression on my wife's face was exactly as if her jaws had dropped. She was staring with her mouth wide open. Adam looked back and forth at my wife and at the mafia boss with an impatient expression on his face. The boss laughed without regard for them. "No, I didn't expect that the villa I bought to please my wife would come with such a bonus as him." I laughed along with that. "It looks like you made a good purchase." Adam, who was restlessly looking around, whispered to my wife asking for help. Hey, please help me. At this rate, However, my wife came to her senses with those words and shouted angrily, "Stop! Don't touch me! I'm trying to live a comfortable life here! Don't bring your mafia troubles into this!" It was a complete change of attitude from just before. The boss, who had a serious face, called out to the subordinate he had brought, "I think we're done talking. Take him away!" Adam desperately cried and resisted, but was dragged deeper into the mountains by several men, and after everyone was gone, I also called to my wife. "Let's talk it over at home." My wife turned around and nodded and followed me. From then on, my wife was desperate for excuses. "It was just a whim. I'm sorry now, so forgive me." The way she clung to me, I was beyond angry and even felt pity for her. A whim. Was it also just a whim that you were enjoying watching me get beaten up by Adam? As I said this, his wife became silent. "What do you think I built this house and guest house for? You were sick and weak, and I started this life thinking about how I could make you feel a little better. I'm glad you're well enough to flirt." As I continued, my wife became impatient. "No, I'm not feeling well. I still have a chronic disease on my chest. How can I live alone if you abandon me? So don't get a divorce, please." While I was working on this plan, I imagined my wife begging me not to abandon her. I wondered what I would think if I saw that, and wondered if I would forgive her, but I couldn't imagine it well. But now I know. I didn't think about anything. Nothing at all. "You're going to be fine. If I'm not there, you'll find someone else soon enough." When I said this, my wife gulped and turned her head down, as if surprised. I handed her my lawyer's business card and stood up. My wife didn't say anything until I left the house. And shortly thereafter, my wife and I got divorced, and she became my ex-wife. My ex-wife was unable to work as much as she wanted due to her chronic illness, so I didn't intend to collect alimony, but my lawyer told me that it would prove that the other party was guilty, so I decided to make a small claim. If I offset it with the property division, it wouldn't be any benefit, but that's fine. My ex-wife, who returned to the city, got sick soon after getting divorced and has been hospitalized. As for me, the mafia boss cancelled the plan because he said his wife said it's better by the sea. Since then, I've been living in the same house as before and running a guest house. The boss was very nice to me and paid me a pretty hefty nuisance fee on Adam's behalf. I was sure it included hush money, so I took it gratefully. Work is going well, and lately I've been so busy that I can hire part-timers, and I don't even have time to think about my ex-wife. By the way, I don't know what happened to Adam after he was taken. The only thing I can say is that Adam was not among those who returned from the mountains that